I said in the Ved, that Vijnanantam Sadgurumi Rahugana was accepting Jadabharat as a guru. But a guru must prove his position not only by wearing a sacred thread, but by advancing knowledge in spiritual life. It is also significant that Rahugana asked Jadabharat which family he belonged to. There are two types of family. One according to dynasty, the other according to disciplic succession. In either way, one can be enlightened. The word Shuklaha refers to a person in the mode of goodness. If one wants to receive spiritual knowledge, he must approach a bona fide guru, either in the disciplic succession or in a family of learned Brahmanas. Maharaj Rahugun is amazed at the outpour of such deep insights and philosophical views which were presented by Jadabharat. Philosophical insights always create an awakening. So it is that, okay, Jadabharat was lost in his own slumber of illusion, which was created by his false. No, sorry, Maharaj Rahugana was lost in his own slumber, which was created by his own false ego. And now, immediately his eyes are awakened. And Maharaj Rahugana is saying, oh, you seem to be a great soul, very advanced. Which family you are from? He's saying, oh, I can see your Brahman thread, sacred thread. You seem to be a very divine personality. I want to know more about you. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining that in the purport that the mood of Maharaj Rahuguna is he wants to know more about Jadabharat to be able to bring about more impact or to be able to bring himself into that situation that he can be more deeply impacted by the words of Jadabharat. But the words of Maharaj Jadabharat has already created an awakening. That has already happened. And that is why Maharaj Rahuguna is amazed. But now he wants to know about Jadabharat so that he can he can be in a state where the words of Maharaj Jadabharat can make more impact. Just like just hearing from a divine person also is uplifting. But if one knows about that person, then one knows that each and every word which is coming from such a realized platform. So one can take it more seriously. And one can take it more deeply in one's heart. Like that. Just like even just reading Prabhupada books, we are so impacted. But along with that, when we come to know the life of Prabhupada, the commitment, the gratitude, increases. That is the reason Jadabharat, Maharaj Raghun is asking these questions from Jadabharat. See, the words of Maharaj Jadabharat has already created an awakening. How? Because Maharaj Raghuvan is saying, "Oh Brahman, I am able to see your sacred thread." Now the question is, previously since a long time, Raghuvan Maharaj is looking at Jadabharat. How now only he noticed the sacred thread? Previously he did not notice. When he was speaking such sarcastic words, he did not notice. He was blind. Yes, he was blind, blinded by his false ego. But the words of Maharaj Jadabharat has actually opened his eyes, so he is able to see. Saying, "Oh, you're Brahman, I understand. You're great soul. Because you're wearing the sacred thread. पहले नहीं दिख रहा था your sacred thread." So, but previously he was blind. He was blind by his false ego. But now the words of this great personality, Jadabharat, has opened the eyes of Maharaj Raghuvan. So he's able to see and he's taking shelter. So in that mood, Maharaj Raghuvan is asking that Maharaj Jadabharat, please tell me more about yourself. So that after that, when you speak about Krishna, that can sink very deeper and I can develop more gratitude and commitment towards you. That's why Prabhupada is saying that he has already accepted Jadabharat as his guru. Maharaj Raghuvan has already accepted Jadabharat as his guru. So therefore, now he wants to grab on to this shelter of his spiritual master by knowing more about. Okay, let's wait further. 617. Naham Vishankhe Surara Vajra Natra Yaksha Sulan Yamasya Danda Nagani Arka Som Anila Vittapastra Shankhe Brahma Kubalaman. My dear sir, I am not at all afraid of the thunderbolt of King Indra, nor I am afraid of the serpentine, piercing trident of Lord Shiva. I do not care about the punishment of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, nor I am afraid of fire, scorching sun, moon, wind, the weapons of Kubera. Yet I am afraid of offending a Brahmana. I am very much afraid of this. I am very much afraid of this, offending a Brahmana. Yes. Maharaj Raghu. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing Rupa Goswami at the Dashashwamedh uh, Ghat in Prayag, he pointed out very clearly the seriousness of offending a Vaishnava. He compared the Vaishnava aparat to Hatimata, mad elephants. When a mad elephant enters a garden, it spoils all the fruits and flowers. Similarly, if one offends a Vaishnava, he spoils all the spiritual assets. Offending a Brahmana is very dangerous. And this was known to Maharaja Raghuvana. He therefore frankly admitted his fault. There are many dangerous things, thunderbolts, fire, Yamaraja's punishment, punishment of Lord Shiva's pride, and so forth. But none is considered as serious as offending a Brahmana, like Jada Bharat. Therefore, Maharaj Rahuguna immediately descended from the palanquin and fell flat before the lotus feet of the Brahmana, Jada Bharat, just to be excused. So, this section we can see. So, at this juncture, we can see how. So, we are understanding that okay, Maharaj Jadabharat, his eyes got awakened. Uh, sorry, Maharaj Rahuguna, his eyes got awakened. As soon as he got his awakening, he realized what grave mistake he was doing. Immediately, he rectified himself. He jumped down from the palanquin and he is paying prostrated obeisances to Maharaj Jadabharat. See, that is the difference between a devotee and a materialist. A devotee has not got rid of false ego, uh, but when a devotee realizes that this false ego is becoming a blockage, immediately the devotee jumps down from the Mount Everest of his false ego and bows down. And that's why Prabhupada is making the point that Maharaj Rahugun frankly admitted his mistake, his fault, that he very wrongly spoke very harsh words. Because he understood, oh, this is a Brahmana, and I spoke these very nasty words. Immediately he jumped off. It is not that a materialist is not able to understand what is right, what is wrong. Many times a materialistic person also understands that this is the right path, this is the wrong path. But he keeps sitting on the palanquin of his false ego, never jumps down. That is the problem. Just like when we meet many people who appreciate our activity, that you're doing very good job. The word, okay, we're doing very good job. Why don't you join us? This is not. That is not. That is difficult. Huh? You continue. Very good. Very good. So they are able to understand and appreciate that this is the right path, but they are not ready to jump down from the palanquin of their false ego. So that is the nature of false ego. It actually creates a palanquin and makes us sit in that palanquin. So one becomes attached to that palanquin, one doesn't want to jump down. And that is what creates the trouble. That's what creates a great trouble. Like that. That is why a devotee should never allow one's understanding and concepts, a perception to become hardened. Say, what an amazing twist in the storyline. Maharaj Rahugan might be thinking that I am a very righteous person. Actually, he was a pious king. He was going to Mother Durga's mandir. And now when this disturbance is being created, Maharaj Rahugan is really disturbed. One of the reasons, no, why he disturbed? Because he's thinking he is righteous and he should get that basic assistance, which he was not getting. He was the king, the pious person, the good person. And naturally, he was expecting that some basic assistance should be there. Some basic cooperation should be there, and that was not coming from this carrier, palanquin carrier, the newly recruited palanquin carrier, Maharaj Jadabharat. So Jadabharat was not fulfilling that expectation, and Raghunath Maharaj was uh, slashing him up. And also, but now on the platform in which he's slashing him up, he's thinking he is righteous. And this person is not even basically assisting. They're not even offering the basic assistance. So that sense of righteousness was justifying his expectation. And when it was not being fulfilled, he was not able to take it up. But when Maharaj Jadabharat spoke, immediately Raghunath Maharaj understood, I am no righteous, my platform very shallow. I am shallow Guru. Here is the real Guru. Immediately he could understand. Here is the real Guru, what oceanic depth of knowledge is. So where Maharaj Raghunath was in a slumber that he is righteous, and where immediately he is proven to be a no, no, immediately he is proven to be a fool, no? Because here was the Mahabhagavad who was speaking. But the beauty is of this twist in the storyline is that Maharaj Rahugun, as soon as we understand that there is a Mahabhagavad, he is happy to be defeated. He is happy to be proven a fool. Because he was understanding, okay, I am being proven a fool. That means in front of me the Mahabhagavad. What great fortune can be there can. So that is the point actually. And therefore you see Maharaj Rahugun, this attitude of Maharaj Rahugun, uh, sure shot is the attitude which attracts the sure shot 100% immense person. So therefore we have to understand, see, this is the attitude which so this is the attitude, or you can say this is the barometer of the good health in spiritual life. When one has this attitude, that means it's healthy in spiritual. So we don't pose ourselves to be very great learned scholars or very great learned devotees. Okay, when we come across new people, we may share now what we know just to help them, just to kindle that spirit of bhakti. Knowing that that particular devotee may even supersede us, and may actually perform much more fiery devotional service practice. Happily knowing that fact. But as soon as a devotee comes across someone who is more knowledgeable, immediately one was ecstatic. One wants to hear and learn. No? Not that, अरे हमें भी बहुत भक्ति आता है उनको बताएंगे भक्ति क्या होता है तो that is a disease that so therefore the shastras say that what happens is that the person is humble, is eager to share the message of Krishna, and is eager to hear also. There is eagerness and excitement for both. It's not one-sided. But if one thing is a very great preacher, so when he gives class, he is giving 4 hours lecture. He wants 500 people to be there. But if you put him to hear class 10 minutes, he cannot tolerate like that. That means diseased. So here Maharaj Rahuguna is not diseased. And because he is not diseased, immediately the mercy which has come in his life, he is able to make the benefit of it. Immediately he is able to make benefit of it. So this is the attitude we can learn from Maharaj Rahuguna. See, Maharaj Rahugun is not completely steady in his bhakti practice. He is not at all very advanced at this stage at least. But one short quality which ensure that he will advance in no time is his this humble disposition. This is humility, eagerness to the. So this goes to show that no, a person who is vulnerable can still continue to go on and advance in spiritual life. But a person should not become diseased. Vulnerability is not an impediment. When one is vulnerable, if one is surrounded by devotees, one will be protected very nicely. But one is diseased and becomes critical to the devotees, is finished. And that's why the Brahman, the aparad against the Vaishnavas compared to Hatimata aparad. Like a mad elephant, allowing a mad elephant to enter, it is healed, that elephant would destroy everything. So, so sadhaka may be vulnerable, but continue going ahead in Krishna consciousness as compared to one. Uh, but whereas a person who is diseased and critical and doesn't take shelter of the Vaishnavas, such a person not last long. Like Raishampu would say always that, okay, there are some people, they always present as if, they're very meek, they're very, uh, they don't have any strength, any potency, nothing they have, these devotees, you find that they're always praying. Anybody they go to, okay, please bless me. I can practice. I can become steady. I can. And so like that, their mindset is like that. And Rajampu says such kind of devotees, they may go on advancing for decades because they have that attitude. They're seeking blessings from everyone. They want to hear from everyone. They want to learn from everyone. So Rajampu said such devotees can go on for decades. The contrary is the contrast of the contrary example is a person who may appear to be very charismatic and strong and very much having in-depth knowledge of Shastras. So therefore, such a person thinks that okay, now I don't need anyone. Such a person is the first to fall. That is the point. Also, yes. So person who performs Vaishnava Aparadha, a lot of punishment is given. So person performing Vaishnava Aparadha, his whole spiritual advancement is blocked very badly. Person may get severe reactions. So, because it depends on who is the object of Vaishnava. Like this, like who offended Shiva Thakur, he immediately got depressive. Like that. Similarly, Devanand Pandit also offended Shiva Thakur, immediately got a terrible disease. So, similarly, who offended Haridas Thakur. So, immediately his nose melted. Uh, he wanted to cut the nose of Haridas Thakur, Krishna cut his nose off. His nose only melted, noseless. like that. Till what time? So they suffered very bad reaction, physical reaction also. So can a sincere sadhaka go to hell if that is the question? So Bhagavatam is mentioning, Gita is mentioning that okay, those who are even little bit practicing, they are pretty Shiva Tamgiri. So can a Vaishnava go to hell also? The answer is yes. On what grounds? Vaishnava Aparad. So the philosophy of Vaishnava Aparad, one may get a very, very severe reaction. Very, very severe. Was offending a Vaishnava. So all spiritual credits are blocked for a very, very long time. And one may suffer tormenting misery and punishment because it's just dare to act against the Vaishnava. The more advanced the Vaishnava, the more the reaction. Like that. So if somebody is done by mistake, he should not have much problem in seeking forgiveness. Huh? But Vaishnava is a person who willfully, critically does it and he is not at all remorseful also. The hardcore fellow. They will get a big severe reaction. So in general, it's said Vaishnava Aparadha is not unintentional. That doesn't very much come in the category of Vaishnava. Vaishnava Aparadha means that which is pre-planned. That one wants to pre-plan, knowingly, uh, pull the leg of the other person. That Vaishnava Aparadha, very dangerous. Mati mat, very dangerous. So one has to safeguard himself from such a position. So that is why the acharyas say that okay, bhakti once started, there is no impediment to bhakti. The path of bhakti can never be stopped. Nothing in the material world can stop bhakti, other than one factor, Vaishnava Aparadha. So bhakti credits are there with that person eternally. Because of that bhakti credit, the person is always pulled towards Krishna consciousness again and again. But Vaishnava Aparadha, that bhakti credits are taken away. Very dangerous Vaishnava. Let's wait further. Text 18. Tadbruvya sango jadava nigoda विज्ञान वीर्यो विचरसी अपार वाचांसि योगा ग्रथितानि साधु ननः शमन्ते मनसा बिभेतुम् My dear sir, it appears that the influence of your great spiritual knowledge is hidden. Actually, you are bereft of all material association and fully absorbed in thought of the Supreme. Consequently, you are unlimitedly advanced in spiritual knowledge. Please tell me why you are wandering around like a dullard. A great saintly person, he has spoken words approved by the yogic process. But it is not possible for us to understand what you have said. Kindly explain it, therefore. But most saintly people like Jadabharat do not speak ordinary words. Whatever they say is approved by great yogis and those advanced in spiritual life. That is the difference between ordinary people and saintly people. The listener must also be advanced to understand the words of such exalted, spiritually advanced people as Jadabharat. Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna, not to others. That Krishna especially selected Arjuna for instruction in spiritual knowledge because Arjuna happened to be a great devotee and confidential friend. Similarly, great personalities also speak to the advanced, not to the Shudra, the Vaishya, the woman, or the unintelligent man. Sometimes it is very risky to give philosophical instructions to ordinary people. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for the benefit of the fallen souls of Kali Yuga, has given a very nice instrument, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The general mass of people, all the Shudras and less, can be purified by chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. Then they can understand the exalted philosophical statements of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Our Krishna consciousness movement has therefore adopted the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the general masses. When people gradually become purified, they are instructed in the lessons of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Materialistic people like Sri, Shudra, Dvijabandhu cannot understand words of spiritual advancement. Yet one can take shelter of a Vaishnava because he knows the art of enlightening even Shudras in the highly elevated subject matter spoken in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, just put the charging point. So this is very beautiful description being mentioned here because here it is said that a saintly person may speak very potent transcendental words, but even the listener needs to have some qualification. See, this is the reason why Maharaj Jadabharat did not speak to the dacoits because uh, they were illiterate in any kind of dharma. They were nasty people. So they, because of that, the Jadabharat did not speak only. So he spoke to Maharaj Raghuvan. But Maharaj Raghuvan pious. So has some chance. And you see, but even though Maharaj Jadabharat spoke to Maharaj Rahugun, how much he spoke? 4 or 5 verses, that's all. He just spoke 4 or 5 verses. And then he was again quiet. But Maharaj Rahugun immediately jumped down offered obeisances, and he's seeking shelter. Then you will see Jadabharata speaking more. Why Jadabharata, even to Maharaj Rahugun, he just gave a little bit. But because Rahugun had that culture, that Vedic training and culture, immediately Rahugun Maharaj rectified his mistake and took proper uh, action. And only because of that he could get more mercy and more assistance. That is the point. Interesting, see, interesting. Although the Jadabharat could, when he spoke, Maharaj Raghun could not understand much, but he could understand that this is superlatively divine. So he's taking shelter and he's asking for more explanation, more details. And you will see so many details are going to come up. The entire forest metal enjoyment is explained, not once, but twice. Not once, but twice. Chapter 13, chapter 14, both the same forest metal enjoyment, which is explained. So this goes to show that more we prepare ourselves, more we uh, purify ourselves, more the message of the Acharyas and the Vaishnavas will hit us like that. That is why a devotee should be completely busy in working on one's own case, to purify one's heart. This is just like many times a seed may be there in the ground, but only when there are proper germinating conditions it is there. In the same way, many times one may be in the association of devotees and seeing and meeting so many devotees, but unless one prepares one's heart in the right state, that seed of their mercy is never going to germinate. That is the point. The seed of their instruction never going to germinate. So therefore, a sadhaka should work on one's heart. And one of the ways to work on one, that is why you see Prabhupada is saying that, you see, Prabhupada is saying, very beautiful, that okay, even though one may not know how to get the maximum benefit of a great saintly personality, still one should be hooked on and grab on to the lotus feet of the great saintly personality. Because they are expert in drilling and purifying the heart. They know the art of uh, drilling the message of the Lord, the hearts of people who are not qualified. And thus they can get qualified to even understand Gita and Bhagavatam. Like you see the example of Prabhupada's Christian disciples. Because they hooked on to Prabhupada, they were not understanding much what Prabhupada is saying. But because they hooked on, oh, their heart became so much purified. They understood the deepest presence of by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So that is why they are offended. They are offended. No, they had complete faith in Prabhupada. That's why they got mercy. So that's why here it is being said in the purport that even though one may not know how to take the benefit, but if one is just hooked on to a great saintly personality, the great saintly personality will drill the message, the purification of the heart. So they were attached to Prabhupada, and that was their qualification. So the qualification to go back to Garrett is attachment to saintly personalities. That's the qualification. No offense. Offense is deadly. This is positive access. Uh, so this goes to show that you see, simply by taking shelter of the Lord and the devotees, all kinds of anarthas can be washed off. Even the dullest of the head can get enlightened. That is the point. So here, Rahugul Maharaj is taking shelter of Maharaj Jadabharat. He's not understanding, but he's taking shelter. And you see, by taking shelter, he'll become very enlightened, like that. So in the same mode, the sadhaka is saying, Durdeva me disha mihajadina. Krishna, give me so much mercy. I'm such a dull-headed. I'm not taking benefit. That doesn't mean that, okay, I'm not taking benefits. What is the use? Better let me give it up. Go for some gratification. No, that is not the mood. The mood is, I am not taking benefit. You have given me so much. Let me grab on to what you are giving me much more strongly. Because I'm not getting benefit. That is my attitude. So let me cry more. Let me try more. That is the devotee's attitude. No, the same attitude means And then Prabhupada saying, see, saintly people do not speak ordinary words. Whatever they speak is approved by great yogis and those advanced in spiritual life. Saintly people do not speak ordinary words. Yes, their words are very, very potent. We take them inside our hearts, it will bring a lot of cleansing and purification. That is the point. That is why it is said, the Shastras and Bhagavad Gita purport Prabhupada says, that you see, one cannot get knowledge without controlling mind and senses. And without that transcendental knowledge, one cannot be liberated. So, a person who is endeavoring to control mind and senses means what? He's trying to prepare his heart, to purify his heart, so that he can get that divine message. That is the point. And that is sincerity. To always be working on purifying our heart, so that when the divine message comes, it can create an awakening, a revolution in our lives. Just like Maharaj Rahugun is ecstatic. Okay, let's read further. Aham cha yogeshwaramatmattatvam Vidamunina paramam gurum vai prashtum pravritah kim iharanam tat sakshat harimya kalavatirnam. Translation. I consider your good self the most exalted master of mystic power. You know the spiritual essence perfectly well. You're the most exalted of all learned scholars, and you have descended for the benefit of all human society. You have come to give spiritual knowledge, and you are a direct representative of Kapil Dev, the incarnation of God, and the plenary portion of knowledge. And therefore, asking you, spiritual master, what is the most secure shelter in this world? What is the most secure shelter in this world? Purpose. As Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Yoginam api sarvesham yatenantaratman Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam samayuktatamo matah. Of all the yogis, he who abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Jadabharat was a perfect yogi. He was formerly the Emperor Bharat Maharaj, and he was now the most exalted personality among learned sages and the master of all mystic powers. Although Jadabharat was an ordinary living entity, he had inherited all the knowledge given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapil Dev. He could therefore be taken directly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed by Sri Rajana Chakravarti Thakur in his stanzas to the spiritual master. Sakshat Haritven Samasta Shastre. An exalted personality like Jadbharat is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because he fully represents the Lord by giving knowledge to others. Jadabharat is herein accepted as a direct representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he was imparting knowledge on behalf of the Supreme God. So therefore, Maharaj Raghunath concluded that it was appropriate for him to ask him about the Atma Tattva, the spiritual science. Tad Vijnanartham Sagurumev Vikatsa. This Vedic injunction is also confirmed here. If anyone is at all interested in knowing the spiritual science, Brahma Jigyasa, he must approach a guru like Jadabharat. So here you are seeing. So here we see that Maharaj Raghuvan is immediately in the consciousness of grabbing on the association of Jadavarat. Because he realized who is Jadavarat. So therefore, Prabhupada makes a point that one who is an exalted person and one is established and estimated that he is an exalted person. And such an exalted person should be taken directly as the Supreme Personality of God. So you see, there is an interesting point. Why it is said that okay, a person, why an exalted person is as good as the Supreme Personality of God? You see, generally conditioned soul also receives mercy from the Lord, but he doesn't hold it. Many times he throws it. No? So therefore, such a person is always deprived of mercy. No? Because he may receive mercy, but he may not store it. Will not let that mercy to grow, germinate. Even if that mercy goes into the heart, because this person has so much false ego, so much resistance, that mercy is not conducted much. Sometimes there are some people they get a lot of association from exalted souls, but still they are delulu in their practice. How is it possible? Huh? Yes. They are not affecting because the state of the heart is not proper. And therefore, one has to purify one's heart. Then it will affect more and more. To the degree we purify our heart, to that degree the Krishna Katha will affect us more. By continuing to hear, Baba is giving the solution. To keep hearing, so the heart will purify. To keep hearing, whatever we are able to catch, we should implement also. That way one can purify one's heart. So now you see a conditioned soul, a materialistic person, It takes the mercy of the Lord or the mercy from the great source. It does not distribute that mercy. Or the distribution, what is coming out is very less. Like some Sarkari tap, lot of water is there from the back, but from it only drop by drop is coming out. And now, in contrast, a pure devotee, whatever mercy is coming from the Lord, a pure devotee is able to conduct that forward, radiate that. So, because the pure devotee is not putting an obstacle in the mercy being delivered to the no, the people of this world. So, one pure devotee is conducting the mercy as it is. That is the point. So, pseudo person is blocking the Lord mercy, then no question of radiation to others. But whereas the genuine devotee of the Lord is not only accepting that mercy, but sharing that mercy. So that's why I said as good as the Supreme Lord, because whatever mercies come from the Supreme Lord, such an Acharya does not create blockage of his own. So as it is contracted, and therefore it is high grade, very high grade. Okay, let's read further. Yes, that is true. Text 20. सवैभवलोका निरीक्षणार्थम् अव्यक्तलिङ्गो विचरति अपि योगेश्वराणां गतिमन्तबुद्धिः कथं विचक्षितः गृहानुबन्धः Translation. Is it not a fact that your good self is a direct representative of Kapil Dev, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? To examine people and see who is actually a human being and who is not, you have presented yourself to be a deaf and dumb person. Are you not moving this way upon the surface of the world? I am very attached to family life and birthday activities. Yes, yes. Is it not a fact that your good self, the representative of what is there, an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So examine people and see who is actually human being, who is not. You have presented yourself to be a tough and dumb person. Are you not moving this way upon the surface of the earth? So he's immediately presenting Raghunath Maharaj immediately takes it. I'm very attached to family life, worldly activities. I'm blind to spiritual knowledge, but I'm present before you. I'm seeking enlightenment for you. How can I advance in spiritual life? So this is a constant pertinent question which a devotee has. How can I advance in spiritual life? Further, further. But all the Maharaj Raghuvan was playing the part of a king. He had been informed by Jadabharat that he was not a king, nor was Jadabharat deaf and dumb. Such designations are simply coverings of the spirit soul. Everyone must come to this knowledge, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Everyone is encased within the body. Since the body is never identical with the soul, the bodily activities are simply illusory. In the association of such a sadhu as Jadabharat, Maharaj Rahugun came to the awareness of his activities. Since the body is never identical with the soul, the bodily activities are simply illusory. In the association of such a sadhu as Jadabharat, Maharaj Rahugun came to the awareness that his activities as a royal authority were simply illusory phenomena. He therefore agreed to receive knowledge from Jadabharat, and that was the beginning of his perfection. Tad vijnanartham sadguru meva vigache. A person like Maharaj Rahugun was very inquisitive to know the value of life and spiritual science, must approach a personality like Jadabharat. Tasmat Gurum Prapadyena Jigyasu Shaya Uttama. One must approach a guru like Jadabharat, representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to inquire about the goal of his life. So the Prabhupada is making the point that in the association of a sadhu only, one can understand the temporary futility of the illusory phenomena. So this is one of the very beautiful testimony of a genuine spiritual master that actually a genuine spiritual master opens up our eyes from all illusion. And therefore such a person will feel awakened. Just like now Raghugun is feeling sort of awakening. Let's read further. Text 21. Drishta smara, drishta shrama, karmata atmano bhai. Vartur gantur bhavatas chanu manye. यथा सतो दानात् अभावात् सम्मूल इष्टो व्यवहार मार्ग. You said, I am not fatigued from labor. Although the soul is different from the body, there is fatigue because of bodily labor. It appears to be the fatigue of the soul. When you are carrying the palanquin, there is certainly labor for the soul. This is my conjecture. When you are carrying the palanquin, there is certainly labor for the soul. This is my conjecture. You have also said that the external behavior exhibited between the master and the servant is not factual. But although in the phenomenal world it is not factual, the products of the phenomenal world can actually affect things that is visible and experienced. As such, even though mental activities are impermanent, they cannot be said to be untrue. But there is a discussion on impersonal Mayavad philosophy and practical philosophy of the Vaishnavas. The Mayavad philosophy explains this phenomenal world to be false, but Vaishnava philosophers do not agree. They know that the phenomenal world is a temporary manifestation, but it is not false. A dream that we might see at night is certainly false, but a horrible dream certainly affects the person seeing it. The soul's fatigue is not factual. A dream that we see at the night is certainly false, but a horrible dream certainly affects the person seeing it. Yeah. Now he says the soul's fatigue is not factual, but as long as one is immersed in the illusory bodily conception, one is affected by such false dreams. When dreaming, it is not possible to avoid the actual facts, and the conditioned soul is forced to suffer due to his dream. A water pot is made of earth and is temporary. Actually, there is no water pot, there is simply earth. However, as long as the water pot can contain water, we can use it in that way. It cannot be said to be absolutely false. So the effect of the body and what happens to the body there in the soul. This is what Raghunath Maharaj does. And because it affects the soul, how is it false? Maybe temporary, but it's not false. This is the argument he's saying. Let's read further. It's text 22. स्थलीयग्नि स्थलीयग्नि तापत पयसो गीतापास तत्तपतस्तंतुल गर्भरन्ति देहेन्द्रिय स्वस्तय सन्निकर्षात् तम संस्मृतिं पुरुषस् यनोरोधा. King Raghunatha continued, my dear sir, you have said that destinations like bodily flatness and thinness are not characteristics of the soul. That is incorrect because designations like pain and pleasure are certainly felt by the soul. You may put a pot of milk and rice within fire, but the milk and rice are automatically heated one after another. Similarly, due to the bodily pains and pleasures, the senses, the mind, and the soul are affected. The soul cannot be completely detached from this condition. The purport, this argument put forward by Maharaj Raghunath is correct from the practical point of view, but it arises from an attachment to the bodily conception. It can be said that a person sitting in his car is certainly different from his car. But if there is any damage to the car, the owner of the car being overly attached to the car feels pain. Actually, the damage done to the car has nothing to do with the car's proprietor. But because the proprietor has identified himself with the interest of the car, he feels pleasure and pain connected with it. This conditioned state can be avoided if attachment is withdrawn from the car. Then the proprietor would not feel pleasure or pain if the car is damaged or whatsoever. The proprietor would not feel pleasure or pain if the car is damaged or whatever. So similarly, the soul has nothing to do with the body in the senses, but due to ignorance, he identifies himself with the body and he feels the pleasure and pain due to the bodily pleasure and pain. So this argument is in continuation. This argument also says that such a person will be affected. The person will be affected by what is happening. Shastabhibhopta Dipati Prajan. यह किंकरो वैना विनस्ति पिष्टा स्वधर्मामाराधनामच्युतस्य यद्ईहमानो विजहति अगहौघम्. My dear sir, you have said that the relationship between the king and the subject or between the master and the servant are not eternal. But although such relationships are temporary, when a person takes the position of the king, his duty is to rule the citizens and punish those who are disobedient to the Lord. By punishing them, he teaches the citizens to obey the laws of the state. Again, you have said that punishing a person with deaf and dumb is like chewing the chewed or grinding the pulp. That is to say, there is no benefit in that. However, if one is engaged in his own occupational duty as ordered by the Supreme Lord, his sinful activities are certainly diminished. Therefore, if one is engaged in his occupational duty by force, he benefits. Because he can vanquish all of his sinful activities in that way. Okay, so let's stop here for today. Continue further discussing about this beautiful dialogue between Maharaj Raghuna and Maharaj Jadavrat. International Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna.